Hello everybody, welcome to the video. This video is about Miyabi and my first impression of Miyabi in the creator experience server. If you're planning on pulling for Miyabi, this might be a pretty good video for you to watch because there are a few things that I thought was absolutely broken about Miyabi, how it kind of throws everything out the window when it comes to who might be the strongest character in the game. It makes sense. She's a Void Hunter and she's supposed to be like almost like, I don't know, in my opinion, an Archon equivalent of like Genshin Impact. In a way. The very first thing that I want to talk about is her iframes, basically her invulnerability in certain actions or animations. Now, many people are aware of the dodge. If you dodge in the middle of enemy's attack, you do a perfect dodge and you don't take any damage. That one's pretty straightforward. Many people might also be aware that there is an iframe when you use most of the character's EX attacks within their animation, like this or like this. She has two types of EX combos where you just do one and then where you just do two. Both of these animations have iframes in them, and it's pretty common. Everybody knows this one because a lot of characters have it, like I said. The third one obviously is her ult. During her ult animation, you don't get hit. It's pretty simple. Now this is where it gets pretty interesting because she has this mechanic with her fallen frost stacks, those little orbs under her portrait. Every time you level it up or hold it for longer, you use 2 stacks of those orbs. This is the first one. This is the second one. And then, let me go get my orbs back real quick. The third one is full charge. Now, all 3 instances of that charge animation, it's really quick. It goes by really fast. But either one you use out of the 3, they all have iframes built into it. That has an iframe. That has an iframe. It's just when you're charging in all 3 instances, the moment you're sitting there charging, they are considered iframes so you don't take damage. So imagine an enemy swinging at you and it's really like fast. It's happening real fast. You can try to dodge the damage if it's happening real quick just by doing this, right? Now, it's very hard, but once you get used to it, it's not too bad. Now, the last instance, I believe, where an iframe exists is actually built into her auto attacks. Now, technically, it's not an iframe from what I understand. It's actually a block. It's almost like parrying as long as you time it properly. The timing on this is something you might need to get used to. So basically, Miyabi has 5 attack strings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now 4 is the X. That's 4, right? And then 5 is like this circular motion when she's standing still. There is a counter block parry basically built in between the ending of 4 and the first half of 5. So right here, right there. And when she's standing still, she can essentially block any damage that comes her way. Now, just to give you an example, I'm going to show you how it looks like when it actually happens properly. The big thing you have to understand is that you kind of have to figure out what part of the attack string you're in and when the enemy is going to attack. And if you time it properly, you just keep attacking. But if you don't time it properly, that's when you could use something like an EX skill or ult or her charge attack, right? So here he goes. That was a little bit too late. I ended up dodging right here. That's good. That's a perfect parry. And let's see if we can get another one. Nope. I'm just gonna cancel it with my EX attack. So as you can see, if you do everything properly, you could kind of get away with like not getting hit whatsoever. Now here's an example of me using Miyabi by herself against the boss. Basically, the idea is keep attacking with your attack string, but when you feel like your timing is off, you utilize other ways to parry attacks or get iframes. Right here, the first one, I used my EX skill to get an iframe because the timing was a bit off. There is the perfect block or parry of my attack string. And then here, I use the charge attack just for good measure to showcase all 3 ways that you can get an iframe. And you just repeat this. You keep attacking. Sometimes they'll get shattered or frozen. And even the butcher, you can essentially do the same thing. And now, if you notice, throughout this entire fight, I am not using dodge whatsoever. All I'm doing is using iframes. Whether it's charge attack, whether it's EX attack, or my regular attack string, that's all I'm utilizing, essentially, to dodge everything. I'm not taking damage whatsoever. Now, this is not a flex. This is just showcasing what you can get away with, essentially giving your Miyabi God mode in doing so. And for good measure, ult at the end. And that's pretty much the showcase of dodging everything. The second thing that I want to quickly talk about is how important it is to manage your Fallen Frost stacks of Miyabi, those blue things under a portrait, and how Miyabi's actually becomes twice as busted if you actually have Yanagi in your team. I'll explain that in a second. Now, from my experience, obviously the most damage comes from using her entire 6 stacks like this, right? And then after you use it all, you want your stacks back, so you use all your EX bars, you get another 6 stacks, and then you do another one of these level 3 charge attacks, and then you're, oh my god, I don't have any stacks left. Let's get at least 3 back by using my ult, which gave us 3 back. And now I'm sitting here like whacking on them because I just need my remaining 3 stacks. Oh my god, this is taking forever. Oh, I got a bar. Oh, but holy shit, I only have 5 left. Oh, I finally got 6. Now I can do my level 3 charge attack. Great. But now what do? You're absolutely screwed. You have no EX bars. You have no 6 stacks. You have no ult. You shouldn't even allow this to get to this point. What you should be doing is swapping between Miyabi and other disordered characters in your party. Because what happens is, as long as any character in your party, including Miyabi herself, procs a disordered damage on the enemy, you get 2 stacks for Miyabi regardless. Now, if you don't know what disordered damage is essentially, you know, filling this bar up, this ice bar or this frost bar or any elemental bar. And then you follow that up with another bar full of a different element and that causes disorder. But as I mentioned, the reason why Yanagi is so fit for this job is because she has something called polarity disorder, which is a disorder damage, technically a disorder damage that should and does give Miyabi 2 stacks in and of itself. But Yanagi's polarity disorder is not counted as the system's game mechanic disorder. It's counted as 2 separate instances of disorder damage. So what that means is when you're using Yanagi's EX skill, if you time it well with Yanagi's EX skill with the system disorder, you get, instead of 2 stacks, 4 stacks. Here, I'll show you how it goes. You're out of stacks, right? But you did proc a element on this guy right now. And then you would swap, and when you apply disorder with Yanagi, you proc 2 disorders. And as you can tell, Miyabi just went from 1 stack to 4 stack. Now, obviously, if you do this wrong and you just use her EX skill 1 time and you don't time it properly, you only get 1 disorder. So basically, as expected, Yanagi is probably best in slot anomaly party member for Miyabi. Now, you can get away with other anomaly characters to give Miyabi stacks by proccing other anomalies like Grace or, you know, Bernice. Just any anomaly characters would work, but from my understanding, Yanagi is the quickest as long as you know how to manage your anomaly bar properly. But if you don't have Yanagi and you have other anomaly characters, I wouldn't worry too much, because these kind of calculations, these kind of timing, you might not be able to do in like a middle of a fight anyway, unless you're like super into meta. I wouldn't worry about it. If you have Yanagi, great, it's fucking OP, use them together. If you don't, it's fine. But if you do have Yanagi, I really suggest you pull for Miyabi, because they kind of work together hand in hand, and it's like the most busted party in the entire game. So here's an example of me using Miyabi, Yanagi, and Lucy in the same party. Same thing as earlier, the same boss. And again, I am trying to showcase how you can just get away with so much thing, just utilizing iframes and blocks without dodging, per se. And I am swapping my characters out to maximize Yanagi and Miyabi's combination together for Miyabi's full stacks. Now here I mess up, and I only end up getting 1 disorder instead of proccing double disorders together, even though I tried to time it perfectly. But it didn't happen because the game just killed my enemy with my first disorder proc instead of my second. Basically, if you're not very careful on how to manage your anomaly bar, again, you kind of lose out on the whole Yanagi Miyabi combo and the whole purpose of using them. It can be a little bit challenging, but when you do pull it off, it's high risk, high reward. I guess you spend quite a time trying to time your polarity disorder for Yanagi and system disorder together, and you get 4 stacks, so you kind of like cut time in building Miyabi's Fallen Frosts. Again, you guys don't need to worry about this too much if you're not using Yanagi. Even if you are using Yanagi, it's a little bit difficult to pull off every single time. So just enjoy. Just do a lot of disorder. Use your favorite characters. I heard Bernice and Grace was pretty good. But yeah, this is Miyabi and Yanagi and Lucy together. I think it ended up being like 1 minute. Yeah, 1 minute 17 seconds with no Mindscapes whatsoever, just characters. The next thing I want to go over for Miyabi on why she's so busted is the difference between her Icefire and Frostbite effects. Basically, TLDR, when you use a frost attack and the enemy's glowing in this fire thing, that means when you attack with Miyabi, her frost burn anomaly buildup is super stupid high. It's like 100% of a crit rate converted into her anomaly buildup. And in this state, you obviously want to use Miyabi. But then when you activate frost burn by making the anomaly bar full like this, now the fire goes away. In this state, it's a frostbite effect where her initial buff to herself goes away, but her party members, I also think including herself, they get 20% anomaly buildup. And this state persists until you disorder with your party members right here. After the disorder happens, now everything is reset and you can go back to Miyabi to reapply Icefire and then do the thing over and over. What's good about this is that if you're using Miyabi and let's say Yanagi, for example, you do all this and you are completely out of your, what do you call it? Fallen Frost dots, the dots under her name or her portrait. Now you can swap to your character anyway. You're going to swap to your character anyway to get these disorders off. And then by the time you get your full bars for Miyabi, the entire Icefire Frostbite effect has reset. And now you can come back and you can utilize everything you need to do again. TLDR, if the enemy's on fire like this, you use Miyabi to proc Frostburn like this. When the Frostburn happens, swap to your teammate, do disorders as much as possible. And then this essentially resets the Icefire Frostburn states. And by this time, Miyabi already has 6 stacks of her full charge attack. And then it just goes back and forth, repeats. And now it's on fire again. One thing to note, there is a way for Miyabi to completely reset the Icefire Frostburn state by herself without needing a party member. And that's, of course, within her Mindscape. In her Mindscape 1, it says that if she does a fully charged attack, when the enemy's in Frostburn state, which is essentially this state, when it's not on fire, in this state, Miyabi can reset this by herself if she does this level 3 charge attack when she has Mindscape 1. So if you are a whale or potentially a dolphin and you want to use Miyabi as a on-field main DPS character 90% of the time, you might want to consider getting her M1, because now if you do, you don't have to swap to your character to reset the Icefire Frostburn state, but just do it by Miyabi herself, utilizing the dots. Now, speaking of Mindscapes, the second Mindscape is basically more damage and giving her Fallen Frost stacks to 6 points when she gets on the battlefield. And then, of course, other ones are level ups of your skills. And M6, she does more slashes during her fully charged attack, which is actually bonkers. So here's a little bit of comparison between her regular fully charged attack at M0. And here's the Mindscape 6 version, which basically adds all the procs together for her charge attacks. And just for good measure, since she has Mindscape 1, this should reset the Icefire Frostbite state as well. Yep, now the Icefire is pre-applied without having a teammate to reset the entire thing. So I hope you enjoyed this video on the 3 things that makes Miyabi absolutely busted. I'm gonna pull for this character. If you enjoyed this video and it was helpful, let me know in the comments below. And if I made any mistakes, let me know, because I'm just going off of this on a first impression basis rather than like digging into meta stuff. And again, all of this is from the creator experience server, so things could change. If they do, then I'll let you know in the future. But thank you for watching. Hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.